This is the story of Filecoin, a project that raised a boatload of VC money in 2017 and now has a fully diluted market cap even greater than Ethereum's. Over the past few months, it has done a literal 10x gain in value, shocking all of us in the crypto world. Before, I kind of brushed it aside, but now it's smack dab on my radar and I dove deep into Filecoin. The question on my mind is it worth getting some of their FIL tokens now? Or should we still stay away? In this video, I'm going to answer that exact question for you and break down what makes them different or special. So if you're curious about Filecoin or are actively looking for more coins to add to your portfolio, then this video was made just for you. Strap in, my friend, because it's time for the deep dive. Welcome back to BFB. I'm your host, Kevin, and in this channel, we're all about that deep research and honest opinions to help you get that long-term edge in the crypto space. While you're watching, if you like what you see, please tap that like button because that one quick click would help me out immensely. All right, so what is Filecoin in a nutshell? Filecoin is a file sharing and data storage service just like Dropbox, or on a lower level like Amazon Web Services. But the big difference is that Filecoin is decentralized and offers its service through a peer-to-peer storage marketplace that runs on its own blockchain. I'm simplifying the things a bit here, but in their marketplace, you have users who want to store data and miners who do the storing and get paid. Anyone around the world can be a miner or user. Miners just need an internet connection and spare disk space. It's truly a free market, so they can set whatever price they want. Users then look at the miners available and select them based on things like cost, speed, and redundancy. The idea is that this competitive market will make their service faster, cheaper, and more reliable than its centralized counterparts. Not to mention, it's also censorship resistant. Since this is a decentralized network, miners have to somehow prove that they're doing their job and deserve to get paid. They do so with a couple of different proofs: proof of replication and proof of space-time. Without getting into the weeds, these are like Bitcoin's proof of work, but instead they prove the miners are storing files and have done so for their designated amount of time. Users have to acquire their token to pay for storage, and that goes straight to miners as a reward. So generally speaking, the more people using the network, the more token demand there will be. If you're wondering what Filecoin's blockchain is actually used for, it's used to facilitate token transactions and store all of those proofs by the miners. Since it's an open ledger, anyone can go check that the miners are storing their data properly. Their token FIL, FIL, has close to 2 billion total supply, but only a small fraction of that, around 65 million, are currently circulating. 70% of their tokens are allocated as mining rewards and will be minted per this emission curve in the coming years. Around 7% of their token was for their ICO, which was one of the largest of all time, collecting over 250 million back in 2017. Even with that large war chest, it took them quite a while to launch their mainnet, which finally happened in Q4 of 2020. For those of you who are more advanced here, you might have heard of IPFS, or Interplanetary File System, before. That's a peer-to-peer data sharing network just like BitTorrent. But on an even higher level, it's a protocol that's free to use, just like HTTP, FTP, and things like that. Filecoin essentially sits on top of IPFS and serves as the economic incentives layer. If we only had IPFS, people could store data out of goodwill, but that doesn't make for a robust service. Some notable competitors in the crypto space are Storj and Filecoin, both having multiple petabytes worth of capacity as of 2020. Now that we have a better understanding of Filecoin, what are the biggest pros and cons about this project? Let's start with the pros and be positive. First, they have a stellar team with world-class technical abilities. Filecoin was started by Juan Benet, a Stanford computer scientist who also invented the popular IPFS protocol I mentioned earlier. Both Filecoin and IPFS are part of his company, Protocol Labs. If you take a closer look at IPFS, it's a pretty complex protocol and is by no means trivial to build. So even though Filecoin is ambitious from a technological perspective, I have full confidence that their team has the chops to deliver. Second, they have a massive war chest from their $200 million ICO and their tokens market cap reaching over $10 billion already. I mean, money doesn't solve all problems. Just look at how Quibi raised billions and still failed spectacularly. But it sure does help. They can hire top talent, kickstart partnerships, and incentivize adoption. Their funds could last them for years. You definitely won't see any articles saying Filecoin shut down due to low funds. Third, they offer some unique benefits compared to their centralized competitors. Filecoin's open market makes it more flexible in terms of choosing how much storage you want to pay for and for how long, whereas competitors lock you in for a fixed amount and a fixed period. Also, competitors can easily boot you off their platform and restrict access to your files if they want to, whereas Filecoin can't do that even if they wanted to because it's a censorship-resistant network. These are two really distinct advantages that I see. Fourth, they make it really easy to build apps on top of Filecoin. You can check out their documentation if you're a developer wanting to utilize some of their services in your app. Some people have already built apps like Dropbox that sit on top of Filecoin and abstract everything away for us. So all we need to do is sign up, pay, and start using it without any technical know-how needed. Fifth, they have automatic token burns built into their system. Every time someone sends a message or transaction, they are charged a gas fee, and part of that is burned or sent to an address that no one controls. Tokens are also burned when the network faces consensus or storage faults. All of this burning decreases the token supply long term, which theoretically should help increase the token price if everything else is held constant. You can take a look at their burn address with the Filecoin Block Explorer to see how many FIL has been burned so far. Last but not least, sixth, there's some impressive interest coming from China for this token. FIL surpassed 3 times the daily trading volume of Bitcoin and Ethereum on Huobi, China's top exchange. We saw hedge funds, public companies, and even retail aunts and uncles all piling into Filecoin in China. Like this tweet that includes a clip where someone is sending FIL as a wedding present. I'm not joking, and I'm not sure how I'd feel about that, but hey, whatever floats their boat, right? People are guessing that this Filecoin boom is because the Chinese government has all but directly encouraged Filecoin mining. It is, after all, aligned with their goal of creating a more robust and attack-resistant internet. Now, if you're looking to buy some FIL from top exchanges like Huobi, you should definitely check out Atani, also our sponsors for this video. They are a crypto trading platform that securely connects to the top exchanges and manages everything all from one convenient interface. They are a crypto trading platform that securely connects to the top exchanges and manages everything from one convenient interface. I've been personally using it, and I made a demo video about it a couple weeks ago that I'll link for you at the end of this video. Best part is they just got a new round of funding from venture capitalists, so it's completely free to use right now. So if that sounds valuable to you at all, go check them out using my link in the description below. Alright, so those are my 6 biggest pros of Filecoin. If you think I missed anything, please comment below so I can check it out. But now onto the cons for this project, because I always like to keep things fair and balanced on this channel. My first negative is ironically their massive funding, which I consider a double-edged sword, because they don't have that strong economic incentive to sink or swim, do or die. They have a ton of money and they could just chill for years. Whereas smaller, scrappier startups have to iterate, pivot, and build an actually sustainable business or also disappear quickly. Filecoin could potentially pull an EOS and go into early retirement without actually doing any of the hard work. Second, their enormous fully diluted market cap scares me. Right now it's over $333 billion. And I know it's an apples to oranges comparison, but that would make it larger than Ethereum. Fully diluted market cap is what you get if you take their entire token supply, even the ones that have not been minted yet, and multiply that by the current price. Right now, they only have a tiny portion of their total supply circulating, about 3%. But that is quickly increasing with investor tokens continuing to vest every single block since their mainnet launch. As you can see in this chart, Filecoin is the orange curve, and it increases pretty fast in terms of how much supply will be released in the first few years. This means that there's more tokens available for sale, and increased selling pressure could negatively affect the token price. Third, they just have a tall task of creating a service that's as fast, usable, and reliable as existing centralized options. In order to get mainstream adoption, they have to do as good as, if not better, than giants like Amazon, Google, and Dropbox. Sure, they're more decentralized, but as we've seen many times, that's not enough to get your average non-crypto user to switch, which Filecoin will need to do in order to succeed long term. Fourth, their token is purely utility and has no governance abilities to it. This means token holders don't get any say into how the protocol evolves. Only their board of directors gets to vote. Ideally, the miners who are critical to the functioning of the network would get a say in changes that directly affect the revenue streams. Fifth, there's actually a pretty high barrier of entry to become a Filecoin miner. If you go look at the minimum requirements, you'll need to spend thousands of dollars on top-notch hardware. In addition, you'll need to stake FIL in order to kickstart your mining operation. Honestly, this is why it's mostly big businesses becoming miners and not some random guy with an extra terabyte of unused disk space. For me, it'd be amazing if us guppies could easily participate too, because collectively, we could supply the network with a significant amount of additional capacity. Finally, sixth, there's just a lot of open questions and experimental aspects about this project, like their incentive structure wasn't properly tuned, which is why there was a miners' strike when their network first launched. They also have a list of unsolved research questions that you could find at the end of their white paper. Now, Filecoin can operate just fine without these being solved, but in order for it to reach its full potential, those will need to be tackled too. I'm wondering though, for my cons or negatives, did I miss anything? If so, please let us know down in the comments below so we can all take a look. Now that I've covered 6 pros and 6 cons, the $1,000,000 question is, would I personally buy it? Honestly, right now, I wouldn't. It feels too high, and personally, I like to invest in projects that have good value and have a good entry point. Filecoin has already rocketed 10x in the past 2 months, and I don't like buying things on a parabola. There are some folks like Vinny Lingham who predict that Filecoin could reach the top 5 crypto coins this year. I don't see it happening personally, but I wouldn't be surprised either if it did. I just think that their fully diluted market cap is already insane, and there's a lot of tokens constantly being released into the market as potential sell-side pressure. Now, if Filecoin accomplishes the grand vision, it could definitely justify that sky-high, entirely diluted market cap. But they do have an uphill battle, and the hype has gotten ahead of itself. Now, if FIL corrects quite a bit in the next bear market, I would love to buy a bag, because I do think it's super solid and has a super high ceiling. What is yours though? Let us know down in the comments below. Next up, I want to cover a hot new project called Audius with their token Audio. And then after that, a video about buying Bitcoin options like puts and calls. You're in for a treat though. It's great to see you as always. Cheers.